Good day, good afternoon, good night. How you doing? This is MCM and you're listening to You're Probably Right. Today we are going to have a serious conversation. Well, maybe not a serious conversation, but there's going to be a serious talk happening here. Now, of course, I'm only doing the talking, but just stay tuned. Hey, what's up, y'all? This is MCM and you're listening to You're Probably Right. Just try to turn this music down. That's better. All right. Don't worry, I don't think it should have affected you at all. Okay. So, wonderful way of talking in the beginning of my podcast episode. But yeah, I'm just chilling. You know, when you get to 175 episodes, I believe the people who are still listening, I mean, obviously people could be listening for the first time, but most of the people who are listening have been there for a while and they kind of know me. So it's kind of like we're just taking up from the last episode. You know, I'm pretty self-bearing and open on this podcast that is for entertainment purposes only. All stories very possibly could be fiction. So it is what it is. But it's not it. It's not it is what it is. It is called You're Probably Right. There you go. Welcome to episode 175 of You're Probably Right. I'm your host, MCM. The only person on the mic is me. If you know me, you know what that means. Today, we're diving into something a little different, but not too far off from what we usually talk about. Relationships. Real life, struggles, and the tough questions that come with them. This episode is for the women out there who are looking for a new partner, but might feel like they're compromising too much, especially maybe because, life has, made things complicated, marriages, breakups, children. Maybe you're a single mom, maybe you're a multiple kid mom, or maybe you've just felt like time is against you, that internal clock and all that stuff. And things are starting to go south. And there aren't many options, at least, so they say. Whatever the reason, sometimes it's easy to let your guard down and let a few red flags just slide by when, you're vetting new suitors, I guess. Today, we're talking about 10 warning signs that you shouldn't ignore. And even if you feel like you're, running out of time, if you ever found yourself thinking maybe this is the best I can do, stick around because You're Probably Right is about to show you a little bit better than that. Or maybe not. We'll see. Okay. Number one sign, when seeking a new match, he pushes for immediate commitment. Now, I don't know how soon you'd call soon, but I mean, if you talk to this person 3 times and they're, I don't care if the conversations were 2 hours each. It's still, that's so much infatuation that I can't even say for sure that, you know what you're doing. You might think you do, and you might be leading with your heart and a pressured heart too, because, maybe you are at that age where, children are going to be a far gone wish. Or maybe you just, women get to a certain age and, they're going through menopause or about to go through menopause or think they're going through menopause, or, they're trying to have the kids, maybe the kids or the child that they already have, they're trying to have them one day hopefully have siblings, but you don't want to be like, 15 years apart or whatever it is because you waited too long. A suitor who wants to commit right away, whether it's moving in, becoming exclusive, or making big promises, might be, trying to fast track the relationship for reasons that aren't in your best interest. Immediately, you got to think. This could be a tactic to, bypass your vetting process by, wedging their way already in before you see their true colors. And that's a lot, that's an issue with a lot of people. A lot of people, because they get desperate, they give up a lot. And when you give up a lot, you give up a lot. In other words, when situations go too far before, you really know who the heck you're dealing with, you're just asking for trouble, especially those who get emotionally attached after certain things transpire, which is a lot of women. And that's why, honestly, it really is, the proper way is to wait. The proper way is to know who you're dealing with, have those conversations, spend some time away, maybe, like don't be totally where, you go to sleep on the phone and you wake up on the phone and then you go to work for 3 hours, then you text them and say you miss them, and then you're back on the phone or back in each other's presence. And you go like that off and on, maybe one day or two off in the weekend or some nonsense like that, to this total intoxicating type of atmosphere by 3 months. And this person expects everything locked down straight up. You don't even know who they really, really are, but you've had a lot of conversations and you guys have a lot in common, you believe, or a lot of things that you believe, or a lot of things that you find interesting at the same time. And therefore you commit. Or they pressure you to commit. And maybe they explain a whole bunch of different things about how women are different from men. And, one guy could get 20 women pregnant if you wanted within 2 days, whereas a woman could only be pregnant once. So therefore there's some kind of an imbalance there, and therefore they should do whatever they want, but you have to be more careful. But you should probably think about giving them a chance, because your options are now limited, especially if you're older, especially if you have kids, especially if you don't have a good job or you're living above your means. So therefore you probably at some point will need some help. So therefore that, factors in being taken care of, pampered, or just held down. So be careful. Number 2, in disregard for your personal or your responsibilities as a parent. So you're already a parent. You've already been in a situation, you're out of a situation, you still have a child, at least one. And this person starts, don't worry, you can stay up. I know you have to get up because your kid has to get up at 5 o'clock and go to school. And they live across town, and you're you're sharing responsibilities as a parent with your ex or whatever it is like that. And things don't work unless you get up by a certain time, and this person pressures you to stay on the phone or something like that, or stay out when you really should be home resting, knowing that your day will not work properly if you're not totally aware in the morning. But this person, doesn't care about what your things that you have to do. Maybe they but they encourage you to flake out on things when it comes to parenting, or not to do things because it's too involved, and therefore they don't get that much time. Then you might be barking up the wrong tree, they say. So if they seem annoyed by your parenting duties, or expect you to ignore your child for them, or stuff like that, that's a major red flag, because someone like that will be the person trying to push you to push your kids onto their other parent, trying to get you kind of all to their self. A genuine partner should understand your responsibilities and respect the fact that your children come first, or maybe not first, because, I don't know if that's the way it really is set in the Bible as a Christian. But what it is they're your responsibility, and they are not going to, their life chances of them becoming successful in any way are best if you are using, doing your role, especially if, let's say, the other person isn't. But either way, it takes two parents at least. So I know people think that they've done it all themselves, and you hear people thanking their mamas all the time when their dad wasn't around. There was always somebody, mentoring, some type of other individual that helped keep that child balanced enough to succeed at anything. Okay. Number 3, too much too soon. Some people call it love bombing, is a common tactic that people use. They shower you with excessive gifts, things that you would never have gotten so soon in any other kind of situation. They're giving you gifts. They're making these huge, grand gestures, and, right from the beginning, not 3 months later, and they're, oh man, I really, no, right off the start. It's like it rains outside, and they take off their, let's see, they take off their Celine jacket that probably costs, what, like $1,200, and maybe more than that, actually, probably more like $2,000. And they let you walk over it because there's a puddle or something like that. Just like really extravagant type behaviors. This could be an attempt to, create a false sense of intimacy and, lower your defenses, because it's like, man, okay, if this person is going to let me walk all over their $2,000 jacket that I saw them pay for it. So it's not a knockoff. It's a real deal. We were in the store, and, he does that. Or maybe you needed to get a chair home to your mother in your SUV and a van or whatever it is, and it can't go unless you tie something. And he's wearing an MCM belt, and somehow, actual MCM, not me, MCM belt, and ties the bumper just so you can get this chair home to whoever, your mom or whatever it is. That's crazy. Yeah, MCM worldwide, y'all. That's crazy, right? I think anybody who knows that brand would be like, oh, this guy is too much. Like, he's giving me all this and he's doing all that, and it's just to make sure that I get my chair home to my mom or something like that. That it just seems a little bit wild. It's like, okay, I could have just sat here and you could have gone to a dollar store and got me a length of rope for $4, but you decided that you're going to take your $470 belt off and tie it on my truck, knowing that it's going to be ruined afterwards. Right? That's too much. How desperate are they really? And if they're that desperate, what's wrong with them? I know people like to believe in fairy tales and you are the one and all that. And there is some of that for sure. But when it's like waste money just to make a grand gesture at the beginning when they don't even know you, it's a little bit weird, really, if you really honestly think about it. I know people want to feel they're special and they want to feel that other people feel that they're special. But when somebody's going to do that before, they even know you from a hole in the wall, then something, needs to be thought about. And who else wouldn't this person do? If they do it for you, even if you're good looking, there's lots of good looking people. Even if you're smart, there's lots of smart people. But it's still going to make you wonder, and it should. Let's see. A lack of interest in your life. If he rarely asks you questions about your actual kids or your career, now, not about your kid's other parent, or not about your coworkers and what they're like, or doesn't ask you about your interests. And the reason why I'm saying that is like if this person's only concerned about your ex and not your kids, what your ex was like and what's the difference between you, blah 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 blah, and on and on and on about that, and then they know you have a job, and instead of asking you about how you spent your day to day doing your job, they're finding out about people around you, people who surround you, just to find your surroundings and suss everything out. And hopefully you'll say too much. As far as I'm concerned, many of these people, when they're trying to ask you these different questions about other people, it's just to build some sort of a parameter around you as to what's okay and what's not okay. Okay, and they don't ask you like, your goals or anything, or they don't really care about your goals. Or if you do tell them about your goals, they're trying to help you to alter them right off the start. It's a little bit wild because they don't know you. It's a sign that he might not be interested in you as a whole person. In other words, maybe they're, objectifying you in some sort of way when they don't treat you like a whole person that has likes, dislikes, aspirations, questions, wonders, worries, stuff that without actually knowing you. So you wouldn't be an actual person to them. You would just be a thing in a sense, even though you might not think so, because they might say you're good looking, or that dress looks wild, or that was a smart comment, or you're really funny, but they don't really have much behind those things. A meaningful relationship involves two people who are about each other's lives beyond just, romantic aspects. And of course, that should be right as well. So if it's something you totally don't want, totally don't like, or things have gone too far too soon, and it's like you feel obligated to pursue whatever that is, and that's because you think you don't have very much hand in the situation or control or say so, then you're already at a disadvantage, and that anybody who'd be actually sensible enough around you, who cared about you enough to talk to you, and they come with their opinion, and especially if it's like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 7 people who are telling you that this dude isn't right, or there's a situation here that's not right. I'm not saying you will have a group of people who don't like a person for a certain reason. Sometimes there's histories that you don't even know about in a city, but generally when it's a group of people, especially when you find, like, you're not going to find a whole bunch of crabby people and ask them one question and they all come with the one answer, and you're going to be like, oh, I can't believe they all said that. No, you ask the person who is like that, because they'll a lot of times suss out a lot of stuff that other people won't see. But then you ask the person who tends to sit on the fence. And then you ask the next person who wants only what's good for you, no matter what happens to anybody. You range it. You have to go around between people, and like, hopefully you have these people in your life who can give you honest feedback by being around them. Invite them to a baby shower, or get them somewhere where they'll be around a lot of people that that know you. And generally, when you get a general consensus, obviously they can't tell, the deeper parts of the person in many cases, the quiet parts, and, the at-home behaviors and stuff like that. But they can still get a sense of who they are, instead of you just trying to judge it based on your stress of thinking that you don't have any more time. Or, next, inconsistent behavior. Pay attention if his behavior changes frequently without explanation. Does he disappear for days, cancel plans at the last minute, refuse to answer questions? Think of it as, how dare you? Consistency is key, I'd say, in trust. And if he's unreliable now, it's unlikely later on he's going to be trustworthy and consistent. I mean, he'll be all over the place. You'll find out that there's a whole nother family going on on the other side if you can't ask any questions as to where was he, who's he talking to, who's that person June on the phone. Like, if you can't ask any of those questions and do those things, then you got to run. 100%. Number 6, avoid introducing this individual, brand new, brand spanking new in your life, you know, but for some reason, as soon as you get in the situation, you're not shown to the parents or whatever it is. Like, you're dating, but they avoid introducing you to friends or family. Then something's not right. Sometimes you might get in on one friend regardless, because guys do stuff like that sometimes. Although most guys will tend to keep their new girls away from their guy friends, especially if they're single as well. But sometimes if the other person isn't single and they got a good whole head on their shoulders, sometimes a guy would make it so there'd be some sort of an interaction or some sort of a hangout where that sensible person can kind of see what you're all about, I guess. Vet the situation, I guess. Wingman it, but in reverse. Um, let's see. So if he avoids letting you meet his friends and family, or after a reasonable amount of time, it might indicate that he's not fully invested in the relationship, or that he's hiding something. A partner who truly sees a future with you wants to integrate you into their situation, their people, because they want to see that it works, and they want to make it work. A lot of the times, not even to see that it would work, it's just make it work. Okay, number 7, disrespect, towards ex-partner. So if they're like mouthing off at their previous partner, their previous husband, their previous wife, and just saying just pure negative stuff about the person all the time, like they always did this, and every problem that I ever have is because of this person, and they don't have any respect for them, and they're talking out their last ends of their whole life business to you about them right from the get-go, just so you can have a disrespectful type of thought process when it comes to that person. Whenever you hear their name, then you really got to wonder, what if you were them, and what if this is your ex, and would you appreciate somebody talking this way about you, saying that you're a limp noodle, or saying that you're useless, or you're dumb, or you're lazy, or you haven't had a job, but just like all the whole bunch of stuff that you could say. And even if it's something's necessarily true, it doesn't mean that it needs to be said to all people at all times, or whenever the feeling gets you, so that you can tear that person down. I really wonder about someone who is that careless and disrespectful to someone who is an ex-partner, because if they can do that to somebody they've been intimate with, or maybe that has a couple of kids for them, then trust me, they can do the same thing to you. So in other words, how he talks about his ex-wife, can he reveal a lot? Can he say anything? Does he say anything? If he does or he doesn't, it can reveal a lot. If he, constantly, one after another, just bad mouthing them, calling them crazy, or never takes responsibility for his own, actions in the breakup or whatever it is, it might mean he lacks, maturity and emotional intelligence. He also, it's a sign that you could, I don't know. You could think of a situation like that could just go very south very easily. All right. Let's see. 8, financial instability coupled with expectation. Is he financially unstable? Is he here and there with the job, doing spot work? But still expects to live a lavish life, and he's just on and on the credit cards, like, like if somebody else is paying, often expecting you to foot a bill, is definitely a warning sign. If he's going to go and spend, most guys are going to try to keep it close to the hip just so that they can pay. And they're not going to usually get you involved in paying, most people. So if I got to take you to the best McDonald's meal I can, rather than trying to take you to, some special, sous chef, some chef, house of blah, blah, blah. And it actually takes place in a house that was, built in the 1700s in downtown Toronto or something like that. You're going to pay some funny money. And I'm saying, if you ain't got it, you ain't got it. But if you're there, one of the people just fronting, or that person is just fronting on, everything, then, what other lies will be down in the future. So, if he's unstable, financially, but still expects to live that lavish life, or often, asks you to fit the bill, it's not a good idea to get into that. It's important that the relationship involves shared responsibility, and one person shouldn't always be paying for everything. And even like I know people who pay for the gift to their spouse and they pay for their own gift as well. I know it's a little bit weird. And if he's looking for a free ride and he doesn't seem like he's ready to ante up in any type of way or even try, then that is a big, big sign. And if at the same time, especially if this person's bossing you around, their job, they're not so gainfully employed or whatever it is as they said they were, and finally you find out it's not as, as it seemed. But if they, keep expecting things from you, then something's not right. Let's see. He gets controlling and jealous. At first, maybe jealousy might feel like flattery because, oh, he cares so much about me and he doesn't want me to get dirty, and he this that the other. And slowly, but it often escalates. It If you question he questions your whereabouts, you're at work and you go in the same place every time, or something hasn't changed, and all of a sudden they're getting a different idea. They try to limit who you talk to, what you're allowed to do, gets upset when you spend time with anybody else, even if it's your kids, your family. And, these are signs of controlling nature. Healthy relationships are built on trust, not possessiveness. So, yeah, if this person doesn't really want you to do anything else, and I'm not talking about the dude who's, waiting on you because, you thought, you've been doing this routine thing where you spend some time on a Friday, every time after work or whatever it is. And then all of a sudden they stop over somewhere and they're spending an extra amount of time. And if they tested, your thoughts about the situation, they would know already, even by looking at you, probably, that they wanted to be out of there within an hour and a half. But somehow this person figured out how to stay there for 4 hours and 20 minutes, or you. And just thinking that that person should be cool with it because it's your family or it's because it's anybody. That might not happen. But if somebody's just basically controlling, telling you what to think, what you can ask, what you should do with yourself, then really just giving you those like bossy types of things, what I mean? Like, it just doesn't make sense. It's not going to get any better anytime soon. Even if it does get better, you're going to go through a lot of pain to get there. And lastly, pressure to ignore your own needs, where this person will just suck you dry, financially suck you dry, full of energy, and just expect you to get up and do it again, all over again. Then that might be a red flag. Well, for sure, to me, it's a it's a red flag because you're supposed to disregard your feelings, how you feel about stuff, maybe your financial situation. Continue to make them money. Maybe you babysit for the person, and where you would be out somewhere at your real job making $270 an hour, or no, maybe a day. If it's an hour, wow. But you're making a lot of money per day, and then now they just want you to start babysitting their kids, so you're losing all this money. Your money is still your money, and their money is still their money. Then something's wrong again, and this person really doesn't have your best interest at heart. So lastly, I'd say finding love when you're a single parent, feeling rushed by time, or dealing with the weight of self-doubt can be overwhelming. But no matter what, you deserve someone who adds value to your life and who values your life, not just someone who fills in the gap per se. Today's episode is about trusting your intuition and recognizing those signs that should be, shouldn't be ignored. No matter how lonely or pressured you feel, it's not about being too picky. It's about respecting yourself enough to get to know, what's truly, what the needs are, what's the deal. You want to get what you fully deserve. But I mean, what do we really deserve, right? The Bible says we really don't deserve anything because we come from Adam and Eve and they're sinful. And the only mercy and reason why there is mercy is because of Jesus. But anyhow, remember, you're probably right if you think settling isn't an option because you are worth the wait and worth and worth the right match. For sure, I think you should wait. Find the right match. Don't just be out here saying yeah to whatever. Because if you say yeah to whatever, guess what? You're going to get whatever. Anyhow, it's MCM, and this is You're Probably Right signing off for now at a nice half an hour. Take care of yourself. Hey, come check out You're Probably Right podcast. Society is getting more unpredictable every day, but at the same time, predictable in its unpredictability. Say that 4 times real fast. Come with me as I attempt to find clarity in all the fog while staying way outside the box and kicking the box way down the road with my size 12 ducks. I use the Bible, experience, education, fortune, misfortune, life's lessons, life's mistakes to sort through all the mess. I talk about news, God, God, self-help, sports, sickness, health, music, parenting, love, humbleness, hurt, pain, joy, and all the things that might make you say, I never thought of it that way. Hopefully, anyway. Also, I take a stab at answering tough and not so tough questions, and all the while understand that, listen, sometimes you end up in the hot seat and there's no thermostat. Well, that's how it is here. And because there's no topic, very few topics off the table, Torontonians will understand that Doug Ford reference there. Hopefully the podcast will be helpful and uplifting. And hey, maybe you'll find your own private Idaho here somewhere. Hope to see you soon.